Welcome to the William Lawrence Group. My name is John Witt, and I'm your host. Today our guest is Sean Ryan. Sean is Vice President for the William Lawrence Group. Sean, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, John.
Sean, let's start off by sharing a couple of success stories that demonstrate why William Lawrence Group is different.
Absolutely. The first thing that comes to mind is a project that we were construction management for that was a $22 million library project.
Good sized project.
Absolutely. And excellent project. The client, however, had some issues with the contractor, one of them being that the contractor was potentially submitting change orders that were over and above what they should have been.
Little more than necessary. Okay,
Absolutely.
that's happened before. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it was our job to stand in the gap, to represent the client, to have those change orders revised and submitted appropriately to be within reason.
And when you say stand in the gap, I mean you're in that space between the contractor and the client, protecting their interests.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's our responsibility to represent the client to make sure that they're getting a fair deal.
So in this case, you started out with some change orders that were high, right?
Right.
And what was the result?
We were able to have those change orders reduced by 50%. At the same time, we also were able to implement a system for the contractor to make sure that they were submitting the change orders properly by instrumenting backup, labor hours that were broken down, and materials that were broken down to make sure the change orders were fair and reasonable.
Yeah, it makes everything simple, a lot easier, and provides great value for the client.
Absolutely.
Right. What's another example?
One other example comes to mind, a very large project that we were presenting to on the client, and during our presentation to them, we had mentioned that we wanted to make sure that their needs were being met, and we wanted to listen to them to what was most important, and even asked them during that presentation, what's most important to you for this project? And they were so taken back by that statement, and no one else had asked them that they ended up hiring us for that project.
So you asked them what was important to them, and
Right.
they decided that's why they should hire you. So in understanding their needs, how important is that for you guys in your model and your process?
It's crucial. What that allowed us to do was to customize our construction management to meet their needs. And that's what we do with each of our clients. That way we can maximize their success and make it a win-win project for everyone.
So your model says, hey, listen, I need to understand the client. I'm going to build a custom solution, a custom process, right? And we're going to make sure that we maximize their success on every project.
Absolutely.
Very nice. Dave, thanks for joining us today.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me, John.
So Dave, start out by telling us a little bit about the process and what makes that unique about construction management at the William Lawrence Group.
What we do is we start the process in the beginning understanding what the client's needs are, what they expect, what they're looking for. We then start to look at their plans and specifications. We make sure that the plans and specifications are designed and created specific to that project and specific to our client's needs.
When you say specific, let's dial into that a little bit. Let's dive into that.
We want to make sure that all the details and all the notes and all of everything that's on the plans that the contractor will then bid is specific to our clients. It's very common for architects and designers to take bits and pieces from other projects and other designs and put them into
Maybe a little cut and paste.
Right.
Save some time.
And what we find is when those plans with the cut and paste are then bid, the contractors, because they don't spend all that time bidding those projects and looking at each individual item, if there's something in there that's too scary or that's too long,
Unclear.
right, they just throw money at it. So if a project is too scary and the plans are weird and lots of notes, they just throw an extra 5 or 10% in their bid and assume that if they get the project, it's going to be strange and weird, so they have extra money in there.
And they're covered.
Right.
And you're making sure that doesn't happen?
We want to make sure that doesn't happen because when we get the initial bids in, we want to make sure that it's exactly the lowest number possible that covers exactly what our clients need. We don't want to have there be costs based on unknown information. We want to have everything known up front.
Yeah, no contingencies necessary.
Right.
All right, excellent. And you mentioned something about a wheel.
One of the things that we do is we have as part of our strategic planning and part of our construction planning, we have what we call a wheel of development. And that takes every component of a construction project, every component of a development, and puts those pieces all lined up in the right order, detailing who is supposed to do it. So we know who the soils engineer is, we know what their requirements are, we know what the structural engineers, what their requirements are. We even go into so much depth that we make sure that the contracts for these vendors are accurate. we've had, on occasion, we had a geotechnical engineer. The geotechnical engineer finished one scope of work, and at the end of that scope of work, he put a little note saying, while this scope of work is clear, we suggest that you do the next section. What that did is that triggered in the insurance companies and in the lenders and in the client a great deal of concern, saying, wait a minute, we thought we were clear, why do we now have this secondary component? So we went and met with the geotech, and we said, listen, if you want to work with us, and we want to work with our clients, you will do what you're paid for. You're paid to tell us if the soil is clean or not clean, not to speculate on what it might be, but at the level that we're paying you, is it clean or not clean?
Yeah, so that's a degree of specificity on the scope.
Right.
And your wheel provides a degree of specificity on the schedule.
Right.
Right, so everybody's totally clear.
Right. Everything on the wheel says what that step is and what the next step is and what's required to go there. We don't miss or leave out anything. We don't leave things to chance. Back to the geotech example. When the insurance companies found out and find out, because we coordinate with them, when they find out that we're making sure that all the vendors are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and we don't allow the vendors to put in the extra coverage that protects their
Contingency
insurance.
factors, yeah.
That protects their insurance companies. We've actually had insurance rates lower, and we've had lenders lower the rates that our clients are borrowing money for, because the program is more complete.
Yeah, that certainly makes a huge difference.
It reduces their risk.
We're going to talk about the results about some of this stuff in a minute, but I wanted you to tell the World Trade Center story.
The reason that one's interesting is because we're doing a project at the World Trade Center, and we're right underneath Tower 1. We're in the most secure environment you could imagine being in construction. There have been a lot of challenges at this location for the client, and we decided, we thought that the tenant improvement allowance for the client wasn't enough, that with the extremely stringent requirements, that we thought that the landlord should be giving more tenant improvement allowance back to the client. We worked on it for a couple months, got a phone call this last week that the tenant or the client has allowed $300,000 more on this location for tenant improvement. So that was a great victory for our client, and one that they weren't expecting for us to do for them.
Yeah, an unexpected benefit.
Yeah, it was great.
Outstanding. Let's talk about some of the results of how what this process, the specificity and the activity that you've done have generated.
Okay. Well, one of the things that has happened is we have an average of about a 23% savings per location for our clients. That comes in a lot of different ways. It comes in what we talked about, proper plans, better management of the contractors. It also comes in better pricing and better management of the vendors, and the quality at the end. It also comes in, we have a great increase, if you will, in the reduction in change orders. I'm sure I
Yeah,
said
so you're
that
saving a lot
wrong.
of money. So you've got a lot fewer change orders.
There's a lot fewer change orders because the plans are correct, the contractors are bidding correctly, and there's a lot fewer change orders. And those change orders are micro-examined to make sure that the contractor isn't taking advantage, and we protect the client's interests.
Yeah, so you're delivering consistency, reliability, cost savings. They're getting to market faster.
Right.
Able to start earning revenue per store a
Right.
lot faster.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the things that makes us unique is while we're interested in making sure that the construction management goes well and that the projects go well, we see the bigger picture, because part of our other part of our company is business management and some other things. We understand that if the buildings are really good quality and they show well, that when the client is going to sell or go for financing, when people go in to do estimates or valuation of the chain, when the stores that we build are good quality, the tile looks good, the lights look good, the maintenance is good, all those sorts of things, it makes the value of the chain and the value of the company more.
Certainly.
That's what we want to see. We want to see our clients succeed, and we know most of the time that construction is a necessary evil for them. So we want to get the construction done, and like you said before, get them up and running faster.
Yeah, they're going to be able to generate revenue a lot quicker. So
Right.
you've got customization, in heavy-duty specificity, managing change orders more effectively, essentially limiting those, and delivering some real special results for your clients.
Right. We find that the more time we spend in the beginning organizing the project, organizing all the pieces and the components that go into it, that the project goes far smoother and the end result is much better.
Nice process.
Yeah, it does really well.